Hello loves, and welcome back to my channel. If you're a returning guest, thank you for coming back. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the roofie situation real quick. I'm trying to remember because it's been a long time and I haven't went back through this in my mind, but basically so I had gotten laid off from a job, and I went out with some friends, some other friends who had got laid off or whatnot. So we all decided to go out. I don't know why. I guess it was just like, we was young. It was like, okay, well, we all got laid off. Let's just go out. So we all went out. And while we were out at the place that we ended up going to, I met this guy who ended up being my boyfriend after the fact, but he was like buying everybody drinks. He was buying like a whole bunch of drinks or whatever for everybody, like in the whole bar. So I was just like, and it was like a upscale bar. I don't even remember the name of it. It's been so many years, but it was like an upscale type of bar. And he was like just buying all these drinks, just buying shots. So there was another guy who worked at the bar that we were at, and he offered me a drink. And so I'm not 100% sure that it was him. I know it wasn't my boyfriend, because he wasn't my boyfriend at the time, but he never like touched my drinks. My drinks from him came straight from the bar. But the other guy, he said he worked there, or he knew somebody that worked there or something like that. So he actually went behind the bar and got some of the drinks and brought them to me. I think he was like the promoter or something like that. I don't know. So he went and got the drinks and brought them to me. And so I'm drinking, just taking shots. I think I was probably like, 18, 19 years old. Whoa, wait. 18, 19. Whoa. Hold on a sec. I don't think I was 18, 19. Because if it was 18, 19, I wouldn't have been able to be in the place. But was I 18, 19? I don't know. I was like somewhere. I hope I was like 21. I could have been 21. I might have had just turned 21, actually. I think I might have been about 21. So anyway, so he was like bringing us drinks or whatever, bringing me and my friends some drinks, and we like went upstairs. And so anyway, at some point during the night, I ended up getting roofied. And like I said, it did not come from the guy who became my boyfriend, because he never gave me the drink. The people from the bar gave me the drink. And then the other guy, he went to the other side of the bar and he got a drink and he brought it to me. So, and honestly, I don't even want to say it was him, because, when you're out, you're drinking and stuff, somebody can easily drop something in your drink. So I don't know for sure that it was a club promoter, but I feel like it was. So anyway, I'm like dancing, partying, having a good time. All of a sudden, I'm like starting to feel really nauseous, and I'm like, okay, starting to feel like kind of weird and kind of woozy or whatever. And eventually we end up leaving, and this is the first night of me meeting this boyfriend, and I didn't go to meet him. We just happened to be there. He was buying drinks. He was, trying to talk to me. And so I ended up, he ended up inviting us to come to his studio or whatnot. And so, he is a recording artist. I feel like okay, never mind. Don't get off the subject. Anyway, so he invited us to come to his studio, and I was like, okay, ready to go. So we get into somebody else's car, and I don't know where the club promoter went at this time. I know that I exchanged numbers with them, because I remember meeting up with him afterwards. But at this time, I end up going with the guy, and maybe it's because one of my friends was also trying to hook up with somebody in his crew or something like that. I don't know. So we end up going to get in a car. We get in separate cars to go to his studio, and I am so drunk, and I'm also like, at this point the roofie is starting to kick in. I'm not knowing that I'm roofied at this time. I'm just thinking like, man, I'm so sick, like I don't know what's going on. So I actually end up just like, they put me in somebody's car, some guy's car, his truck or whatever, with like some other people, and I get in there and I just like all over his car. So he is heated. He's like, oh no, she got to get out. Get her out of my car, whatever. So then they end up taking me over to put me in one of the van that they had. They had a van or something like that. So I get in the van, and I'm just remembering like little bits and pieces of this, because I was literally like, it was like how you see in movies, like where it was just like everything was kind of weird and moving slow and kind of, all of that. So They put me in the van, and then we pull up at the studio. Now, it was a famous, a well-known artist whose crew was there that particular night, that was going to the studio with the guy who eventually became my boyfriend and his crew. I won't mention his name because I don't want to, start up any trouble, but they left me in the car. I was so passed out in the car. I was in the very back of the van that the people got out. They were drinking, they were smoking, whatever. And, they left me in the car. They didn't realize that I was still in the car, or I don't know if they didn't realize, or if one of the guys from the, person's entourage, his road manager or something like that, he decided to take advantage of me in the state that I was in. And so he ended up, I had on, of course, a tight little dress, and he was able to, since I was in there by myself and I was like passed out, I couldn't really move. I couldn't really do much or anything because the roofie had kicked in. And so he tore my thong. And I don't know what all I can say online, but I'm going to look. I ain't got time to be trying to go around the works. He tore my thong, and he was getting ready to, take advantage of the fact that I was like passed out, because he just thought I was drunk. I don't know if he knew that I was roofied, or I don't know who knew, because like I said, I think the other guy is the one who roofied me, because he's the one who brought me a drink. But then at the same time, we're in the club, who knows who roofied, whatever. So then this is the part where it's a testimony, because like right as he was getting ready to like take advantage of me, like I'm literally like, I can't do anything. Like I'm incapacitated, and I'm just laying on the back seat, and I can feel him and I can hear him talking, but I can't do anything to like stop him or protect myself. And so right as he's getting ready to like take advantage of me, I hear the door to the van open, and then I hear him arguing with somebody, and they're like, "What you doing?" Blah, 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 whatever. And so I hear him like arguing with somebody. And when that happens, they end up getting me out of the car, and they take me inside. And then I'm like in the bathroom on the floor just all night, just literally like just throwing up. And it got to the point where I started throwing up my stomach lining. I didn't know that's what it was at the time, but it was like white, like cottage cheese or whatever. And it was just like really bad. Like I just couldn't stop throwing up. I couldn't stop throwing up. And I was so like dehydrated. I was so like, I just laid on the floor and just could barely sit up. I'm just throwing up. I'm just, dry heaving. Like I just can't even, do anything. And so, the next day, I believe, the guy who ends up becoming my boyfriend, he gets me a ride home. And at this time, we have cell phones, but it's the flip phone and stuff. So it wasn't like you could just, get an Uber and all that stuff. We didn't have Uber. So we had taxi. So he got me a taxi, and I get home, and I'm like, I can't remember barely anything. I just remember the little clips of what I just said. It's like, seeing the guy, hearing him get upset that I threw up in his car, and then like, just throwing up, and then the guy touching me and just things like that. And so I'm like literally for like the whole day, or maybe even 2 days, I'm just throwing up. And I'm just like, what? And it was just like, I literally was just throwing up this white cottage cheese. Like there was nothing else left for me to throw up besides this white cottage cheese, which ended up being my stomach lining, or what I was told was my stomach lining. So then I end up going to, I end up having to go back. And this is how he actually became my boy. Cause like at that point, it's like, okay, I don't know what happened, but like now I'm like, oh, I don't want nothing to do with anybody. Cause like, what is going on? Like, this is horrible. Well, then I left my wallet or something. And so I ended up having to come back to get my wallet. And so when I came back to get my wallet, that's how we kind of like started conversing and everything like that. And then like as time went on, we ended up being together. And then the whole situation happened with if you heard the situation from the last video with the the busted window. So the busted window that happened, like we met, like things were moving really fast, but like we got the van, and then like within a month, that's whenever it was just like crazy. And so all these things were happening, but in a way it was kind of like bringing us closer together, because it was like so many things were happening. We were kind of just like, you know what I'm saying, like helping each other out, whatever, looking out for each other, whatever. So anyway, I went to get my wallet and we start conversing, and then that's how we ended up eventually talking. So I met up with the road manager, not the road manager. The road manager was the one trying to take advantage. And I don't even know who he was, but I know he was with the celebrity that was there, and they were inside. But the guy the club manager, or the person that worked at the club, he actually came, and he contacted me. And so I went and met with him. And then that's how I feel like he's the one who actually roofied me, because he was just like, the stuff he was saying, he was like, you were so much fun the other night, like now you're acting like, you know, blah blah blah. And then it was like he kept trying to get me to go home with him, but because like things happened the way they did, like I didn't end up going home with him. So like the reason that I'm telling this story is because like it came up to mind, and I was just thinking like, wow, like Lord, thank you again, because in my ignorance, in my, you know, just out here being just wild and crazy and drinking and smoking weed and just all the different things, you still protected me yet again, because you protected me from him taking advantage of me. And then also because you protected me not only from going home with the guy who possibly roofied me, but you also protected me from the road manager who I was left alone with, incapacitated, who could have took advantage of me. And then also there's people that I know who have been roofied and they have never recovered. And so I'm so grateful to have recovered and not have any lasting injuries or anything from being roofied. I used to work at a mental hospital, and there was a lot of people who came there because they got roofied, or because they got what's it called, laced or whatever, like their weed or something got laced, or their drink. There was one guy who he was just drinking. He was out with some so-called friends, and somebody slipped him something in his drink, and he never recovered. And actually I know two guys like that, who they were drinking, they weren't even smoking, they weren't even doing anything else, and somebody slipped them something and they never recovered. And now they have disabilities because of the fact that someone slipped something into their drink. And so I could not thank God enough that even when I was yet out again, just living life wild, crazy, sinning, acting a fool, that he came through and protected me again and helped me to still be of sound mind, helped me to still be in a healthy state. And also I did not get taken advantage of that night, so or any other nights or whatnot. Goodness, these people all but yeah, so I didn't get taken advantage of that night or any other nights. And so yeah, so I'm just so grateful. But and I'm telling these stories because, like I said, these are real life stories that happen, but it's really a testament. It's really a testament to like how good God is, because even when we are out here, we're living life, we're, you know, just living without any regard to who God is, or not even caring about who he is, or the fact that like he loves us and he saved us, and like our body is a temple and we should be treating it better than what we do. A lot of times people are just treating it however they want, just doing all kinds of different things. And I was one of those people. And even in that, you know, the Lord protected me. But I do encourage you, like I said, don't take these stories and think that, oh, this is the, like saying, oh, well, if you want to sin, God is going to protect you. Like, oh, he protected me because I was out there just acting fool and he didn't care. He just protected me. No, like I'm telling these because it's a testament that he did not have to protect me. And I know people who have not had as good of a situation as I've had. I know people who have gotten, you know, I don't know what I could say online, but I know people who have gotten like gang banged or whatever from having multiple guys, you know, just from being out drinking, hanging out and stuff. And I know girls who were my age, who were younger than me, who were when we were in high school and stuff, and just even in around that time, who were getting taken advantage of by multiple guys at once, 5, 6, 7 guys that were just coming up in there and just taking advantage of them because she was incapacitated. I know girls who have, who have other illnesses and stuff because of the fact that they were taken advantage of. I know people who, like I said, the 2 guys who I actually met in person, who they literally lost their mind because they were roofied. If I really go back and think about when I worked at the mental hospital, there's a ton of people there that were, roofied or drugged in some type of way, and they lost their mind, or they just, became debilitated, where they can't think straight anymore. They can't function the way that they used to. And so, like I said, I don't tell this just to gloat about oh, the Lord protected me. No, that's not it at all. It's because this is a true testament of the Lord can protect you, and he will protect you in certain situations. But I always encourage you, if you're doing stuff like this, stop, because you don't know when that one time, it could have been any time that I could have it could have been a whole different situation. I could have been not in my right mind right now. I could have been taken advantage of by multiple people. There was lots of situations, and it wasn't all situations that I put myself in. It was other situations that have happened. I even have been, taken advantage of by someone when I was younger. And maybe one day I'll tell that story too. But if you are doing these kind of things, just remember that your body is a temple. God created us in his image. He wants us to live and take care of ourselves. You don't want to be inhabited by all the different spirits that come with this stuff. When you're out here, you're drinking, partying, doing all of these different things. There's lots of different spirits and stuff, lots of different demons and stuff that are getting switched around. People talk about, even from having sexual intercourse with people and all the different things, you can be transporting spirits. When you're drinking, you're drinking. It's called spirits. It's called spirits. So you're allowing a spirit to come in and take over your body, your mind, your control. It says, be sober and vigilant, and the enemy prows around like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. And the reason he's able to devour people is because people are letting their guard down. They're not guarding their gates. They're not guarding their heart, and they're out here doing things that are harmful to themselves, that are harmful to their temple, and then they're not keeping control of themselves, because they're allowing these different spirits to come in. When you're smoking weed, when you're smoking other kind of drugs and stuff, a lot of this stuff, it's other spirits that are coming in. These are demons that we're allowing to come into our life to take over and allow us to do different things. Even if you look at the state of the world now, it's crazy how many people are losing their mind, who are doing all kinds of crazy stuff because they're losing their mind, because of partaking in drugs, partaking in sex, partaking in just doing all kinds of different things that the Lord does not call for us to do. And so anytime I'm doing these videos, like I said, I'm most of the time I'm talking to Christians, or those who consider themselves to be Christian. And so if you are Christian, I really encourage you to stop having sex if you're not married, stop partying, stop drinking and getting drunk and doing all these things, because thank God my story turned out the way it did. But what if it didn't? And what about the people whose story didn't turn out that way? What about the people who got killed? What about the people that died? What about the people that killed themselves? What about the people who did get taken advantage? But what if that person is you? What if you're the one who ends up getting, these different things that can happen from these situations? And what if you never get a chance to go back? And people always say, oh, I wish I would have never did that. I wish I would have never went that night. I wish I would have never did this. And it's now you have an opportunity to say, I'm not going to do this. Just choose not to do it, because if you really love the Lord, then you want to honor what he says, and you want to be a good steward of what he has given you, which is life, and you want life more abundantly. So I just encourage people to live life more abundantly and to do what the Lord has called for you to do. If you're out here doing these things, the Lord loves you and he cares for you, and you need to love and care for yourself enough. You know, when I was doing a lot of these things, I really didn't love and care for myself, because I could say I loved and cared for myself, but I obviously didn't, because my actions were not showing that I loved and cared for myself. If I loved and cared for myself the way that I say that I do or whatever, then I would not have been doing these things. And if you really love and care for yourself, then do not do these type of things, because it's harmful to you, you know? So anyway, that's all I got to say. Thank you for watching. Come back and watch more videos. I will come out and talk. I don't even know what I'm talking about next, but hey, I'll be back with something else. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. All right. Bye, loves.